You haven't been with us every Wednesday about Zenescope's newest releases. If you don't know who I am your NCW host, Amber, and this is just another wonderful Wednesday at 3 p.m. where we talk about everything new with Zenescope. Today, we'll only be talking about one new release because we only have one new release today. Outside of us talking about our newest releases, where can you find our newest releases? You want to head to Zenescope.com, press new releases. You'll see it on our homepage, our latest release, and all of our previous releases before that. Check out some other releases. You'll want to head to Comixology to read on the go, as well as some other digital platforms. Or you can go to your local comic shop and ask for them to carry Zenescope if they don't already. And make sure that you subscribe to one of our stories. We have many ongoing issues, many ongoing quarterlies that we will talk about here every single Wednesday at Zenescope, at NCW, at Zenescope, at NCW. Sorry, I'm kind of tired. To make sure that you never miss an NCW, you never miss any of our newest releases, you never miss any information on Zenescope, including our VCons, our movie club, which is happening later today. You want to make sure that you like, subscribe, and you push that notification bell so you never miss any of those streams. Without further ado, we'll be talking about today's only release, which, if you can see in the corner, is already our character that we'll be chatting about today, Belle, the Shape of Fear, which features our lovely guest star, Sleeping Beauty, which we will be bringing on our very own Dave Franchini to talk about in just a moment. But when he gets second, if you pop up those beautiful covers, and as always in the comments, tell me what is your favorite cover, because I would love to hear / see about it. Thank you. Here are your 4 incredible cover choices. And I know Dave's currently looking at them, so he can decide which is his favorite cover. I'm sure he's looking very, looking at the details, the colors, and he'll tell us in just a moment. But as always, I'll read that wonderful synopsis. Belle Annabelle DeMarco's waking world is haunted by the beast that she is sworn to hunt. But when something causes those same creatures to pervade her dreams, she begins to question her own sanity. Now she must fight a battle that she can't dream of winning, but with the help of an uneasy ally, she may be able to wake from this nightmare. Guest starring Sleeping Beauty, 40 pages. So again, pop in those comments. What is your favorite cover that we have going on this Wednesday? Oh my God, I am so sorry. I took a red eye home this morning. I have not slept. I'm very tired, and I'm not on my A game here, which I hate to do to Dave because he's our lovely guest today. He's shaking his head. He's like, no, you're not on your A game. Well, without further ado, I will bring on our very own Dave Franchini.
Hello. Hi. I'm just
How are you?
I'm laughing at our Always Sunny in Philadelphia ad we just put up for the VIP event.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's up on the Facebook page. But
I'll have to check it out.
Very, very strange. I don't like it.
It was strange. Was it done by Noah?
I'm not sure who did it, but I don't know why. I love the faces and the choices. Now I have to
pull it up. Oh, Casey did. I never know who does the bizarre stuff that we're doing in the background. This is a very special NCW for multiple reasons. The first one being is that Dave is going to unveil what is his favorite cover as a favor to me on this NCW.
Yeah, A through D. I love them all. As one,
is there one you're feeling a little bit more?
You should just print them all as just like this, as just one giant cover, and I'd be okay with that.
One giant cover of all of our covers.
Choose. I mean, it's not even like I honestly don't even have a favorite. It's not even me like hiding it from you. Like I look at it and I'm like, I love them all because there's a certain thing behind each one.
Each one has its own story. I see.
Yeah, and then each artist, like every time we put an artist on a cover, like we put them on there 98% of the time specifically for that artist. Like it's like we're coming up with the concept, like who could do this concept, who can do it, and we book that artist based on that. So we try to kind of match the concept to the artist anyway. So like I don't know, I love them all.
I guess I'll accept that as an answer.
This is my favorite A cover on Belle, the Shape of Fear. And this is my favorite C cover on Belle, the Shape of Fear.
Go away. I hate
That's
you.
what my grandpa used to do. He'd be like, "Oh, you're my favorite oldest, greatest, whatever, favorite oldest grandson." That's like
I
the
hate
old.
you. Let's dive into the story. So we have a guest appearance from Sleeping Beauty. Is this her second appearance?
It's a good question. It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, besides,
I wasn't sure if she had an appearance in between her origin story.
No. Yeah. This is the first time we see her since then. So it's been a few months since her story, and she's kind of started to learn her powers a little bit more. They're actually both based in Philadelphia, so that kind of it wasn't like a stretch that they meet each other. But yeah, so yeah, it's the first, isn't it? And this actually, it's kind of like a bridge to the next Sleeping Beauty story that's coming up.
Gotcha. So
right now, yeah.
For this Sleeping Beauty story, aka the spell story where Sleeping Beauty appears, what do we need to know about Sleeping Beauty if we, for some reason, had not read the incredible issue of Sleeping Beauty?
Well, basically, like we have a lot of different worlds in our Grimm universe. So we have again the whole Zenescope universe of comics. We have Grimm, like the Grimm fairy tales is set on Earth, but it spreads out to Oz, Neverland, Wonderland, Mist. But like, so we have these physical realms, and then we also have like Limbo, and you have the Inferno. So you have like the afterlife realms. This is kind of like the Dreamverse. The dream world is kind of it's the veil that kind of goes around each world. So it's like basically, if you look at it as like there's a balloon around the Earth, and there's a balloon around like Mist, and a balloon around. This is like that thin veil where all those beings sleep, and they kind of their dreams exist in here. So anything that kind of gets created in here, it might fall into Wonderland, the realm of dreams, like after it's already been created. But this is where like the ether is that it gets created.
Gotcha.
So that's the best way to explain it. I mean, that I think of right now. But yeah, so like with the Sleeping Beauty story, we've kind of introduced that to everybody, and she's a character who's able to traverse from our world, and there's people from other worlds too. There's people from like Oz and Neverland. They're able to do this, but right now we only really know Sleeping Beauty. And so yeah, we've introduced her in that story, and now it's Belle from movement stories has something's happened to her that's given her this ability to get into this world. So, but she's not supposed to be able to like traverse the world as she's doing it. So
Gotcha.
the attention of not only Sleeping Beauty but the other evil like characters inside this realm, this verse.
Was the plan for Sleeping Beauty's character to always bring her into another person's story? And then I know that you said you're planning on the next part of her story. Was it always to like, okay, now she's in Belle and then maybe get her another issue, or you weren't really sure what you were going to do with her character after you introduced her?
I mean, there was always a plan to introduce her into the main universe and bring her into other. It was just figuring out which character was going to make sense, and it was going to be between Belle and Sky, basically, because both of them are in the Philadelphia area. So you want it to naturally happen because Sleeping Beauty, you don't want her to be worldwide at this point because she just got her power, so she's not going to like instantly be able to go into the thing, and then she's like dealing with whatever like Mercy Dante or Hellchild or whatever, who are in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So it's just kind of, it's a slow build of like building out this like her powers and also her reach to where she can go. So it was always going to be Sky or Belle, or anybody in like the Philadelphia. It could have stretched to like Robin and Van Helsing, but I always felt like it had to be somebody from like the Philadelphia area, someone that can naturally run into her in person, but also inside the dream world.
Gotcha. Okay, so you obviously have this story for Belle, and she's just guest starring in the story. So tell us about the story without giving it away, and why it was so important to like incorporate dreams into this story.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of more for the like, building the character up a little bit more. I mean, we always get a little bit of. I mean, we always get a lot of bit of what's going on in Belle's head. We get a lot of her narration. We get a lot of her thoughts. We never really get what she's actually seeing and thinking and feeling when she's not even trying to concentrate about it. So this was more diving into something she can't control, where it's like you can't really control your thoughts most of the time, and you really can't control your dreams. So it's putting her in that situation where she has to learn to adapt into a world that she can't outmaneuver, outskill, outthink. It's like, how do you outthink yourself? How do you outthink your like? So that it was more just kind of playing with that idea, and then building around it there. And then also taking some of the stuff we already established and like establishing that the world and that there's creatures in this world. So like, yeah, not only does she has to deal with her own thoughts, she has to deal with the things that are living in this world already that don't want her there. So yeah, I mean, like each of the Belle stories is more just like, it's kind of like, I look at them as like they're like self-discovery stories. Like they're more, she's trying to learn something about herself, even though she's not trying to learn it. It's like forcing things on it to have to learn for each story and to make her hopefully grow as a human being and as a character. And that's basically what this whole one was about, was just putting her in a world she couldn't control and how she would deal with that. And then it actually ties back to Belle from Beyond. You don't need to read that to read this one, but it actually adds a little bit more to it because of what happened in that story. It gave her access to this dream world.
Any hidden item in this story, like anything that you did on purpose or anything that you like did as like an homage to something?
Well, I mean, honestly, the cabin thing is actually part of the Lovecraft stuff. So it's slightly tied into the Lovecraft things we've been doing, but not so direct. But I mean, like, it's not going to tie into the overall like Lovecraftian theme we have, but it was just more of a bleed over from what happened with like from Beyond. I mean, there is a big giant Easter egg thing.
Hershey.
I mean, he exists in her subconscious, so I mean, he's part of her life. It's like when you have random dreams and you see people you know in there, people you haven't seen in a while, or people you see every day. I mean, why wouldn't there be a giant flying turtle inside Belle's dreams? I mean, I don't go one night without a giant flying turtle, so I don't know.
Most interesting man in Horsham, Dave Franchini.
I don't know. Maybe we can do a never-ending story Belle crossover, and we have Hershey the giant flying turtle with Falcor.
Well, I will say that I thought this was a really well-written story. I was immediately into it. I really liked the opening. The opening kind of dives into when something is weighing on your mind or something is really important to you, and then you can't get it off your mind, and it kind of like then moved into the dream, and how like you keep reliving something that maybe you don't want to relive, or you're going through something and you don't know what to make sense of it.
No, man, I'm glad you like it. No, I mean, it's pretty much it. It's like, yeah, it's like we can't control our thoughts. You can't, like, once something's in there, you can't always just push it away. And it's buried in, even if you don't think about it, it's buried in you somewhere. So
it is. When you try to let go of things, you can never really leave.
No, I mean, no, not until you actually get past it. It's like, and that's a lot of like, it's a lot of her stuff. I mean, it's a lot for, especially Belle's stories for the past like couple months, last year. It's like moving past losing her mom, moving past like not being in control of things, moving past not being able to rely on people, but learning to start relying on people, learning to move past, learning to live with the things she can't control, but controlling the aspects of that things that she can't. I don't know. I think that's the most fun with Belle, is just figuring out things that like that seem impossible and figuring out her way of getting through it. And it's just more of like I look at hers. Yeah, she's dealing with giant like monsters and beasts, but it's more about like how does she get through normal human everyday things?
Monsters, beasts, a Demogorgon look-alike.
Well, those are nightmare creatures. They're actually an homage to the Lovecraft stuff. There's these cone-shaped things that are in this one of these Lovecraft stories, and they're these nightmare creatures. And then weirdly enough, we kind of made them in the original Beauty story before I even knew that the Lovecraft story existed. So kind of it's all in our dream.
This question from Aaron makes me laugh.
I can't spoil that. I mean, maybe we do that for the swimsuit story, and they're pushing each other out of the pinup, trying to get the right name. I mean,
B.
that's a tough one. That's yeah. I don't have my gifts here to get you, Aaron. I can't mind wipe you with my Men in Black gifts.
Well, what the lovely audience of Zenescope doesn't know, which I am about to unveil, so I can ask Dave my final few questions, is that my time at NCW has come to an end, and next Wednesday will be my last NCW. Just got really, really busy with other aspects, and it's time to pass the torch. So NCW, I think, will be going on a little bit of a hiatus until we find our next host that will come. Yes. And so Hershey, yes.
The turtle just sitting there.
It's going to be Hershey. So that's why I wanted to have Dave on today, because I wanted him to come on to our last NCW appearance together. So in doing so, Dave, what has been your favorite NCW appearance?
First, thank you for having me, and you're be missed on the new Comic Wednesday, and
I appreciate that.
No, I mean, again, it's like it's like the covers. There is no favorite. Every appearance was like a favorite because it was different, and you let me talk nonsense to like a bunch of people, and like subject them to all they can do is mute me or turn me off, and thankfully some of them don't. No, I mean, so I kind of like. I love this. I love this show only because like I love. I from a fan point of view, I love hearing the creative process and the thoughts behind stories and things like that, and that's one of my favorite things. Like besides the story itself, like, but I like to know what goes on behind people's minds and thoughts and processes. To like, not necessarily to like, oh, okay, that makes the story more for me. It's more for me to like learn from them. But I don't know. I mean, so I like being able to get a little soapbox and talk about like cool stuff. But also I love watching everybody else talk about their stories and like what goes through their head with creating them and things like that. And everybody's favorite cover. So I know which ones to book more of and which ones people want to buy and things like that.
I know. I thought for our last NCW, you would at least pay me the honor.
I don't know. I'll get one day. I'll give you a list of like my top 10 covers that we've done.
I'll have to sign some sort of like NDA, and they will be like, "It can never leave."
I'll just print them out, and then I'll rub my fingerprints off them, and then you can look at them, and then there's no proof that they're from me or not. But yeah, I mean, like that because I love all. I guess things I do love too many of the covers, and it sucks because I can't be like, oh, this is my favorite, because then like a week later we might get another one, and I'm like, that one's awesome. Like I love like, and like it's not the other one's gone. It's like, oh, that one's really cool now. Like it is. It's like you're my favorite today. It's
true. NCW. It's been a run. I don't think you weren't on my first NCW. Were you on my second?
What has your favorite experience been
that I ever had on NCW?
In life, I guess. Yes, in NCW.
In life, meeting Dave Franchini. Hearing about Dave Franchini naming the items in his backyard or the animals that he found. My favorite NCW experience. I'm trying to think. I had a couple of really fun. I really loved when I wish I had him on again. I really loved when we had Taylor Esposito on, because a lot of people ended up messaging me after that NCW being like, I didn't know anything about lettering. Like, I thought that it was just like a very informative interview and things that I feel like a lot of people just don't know about, and a job that almost nobody knows exists.
No, that is crazy, especially for Taylor's credit. It's like, these books wouldn't exist. Like letters are like, as much people like, oh, they're just letters. Like they're artists. Like it's crazy the things that they can do with like, even just like you look at the sound effects and things like that and the placement. Like there's so much like that's a skill. Like there's times when you see letters and you're like, I don't want to read this book because the letters they pull you out of it. But when you see stuff like that Taylor does, you're like, all right, it feels like it's part of the artwork and it was always meant to be there. So you don't you're not like losing anything out of it. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but I didn't know that stuff until I started in comics either. Like, it's not something you really think about because you just think it's there, but there's such a
you're like, what? When I worked in, I don't have it for the company I work at now, but my friend who works at my company now used to work at San Diego. She worked there for 22 years. And she told me that she had 2 dedicated people that literally their job were line managers. Like, that was their job title. And all year they would just plan line management and queue and where it was going to go, etc. And these are just like, that's another role that I would never know existed anywhere. Like, how do you become a professional line manager?
Well, until you go into like a convention and everybody's just standing around in a pile and you're like, who's managing this line?
You're like, what is this queue? Yeah. I will say probably my other favorite moments were just I love any time where I really make Ralph mad on a stream. I'm trying to think if there was like one particular. I really like the stream actually we did for Tales of Terror game nights. I just like that story. B, we had Pat on the stream, I think. And we did it in the dark, and that was just a really fun stream. I think that was like
probably like cards with the actual game.
Yeah, we made cards for it. I just felt like there was a lot that went into that story, and like it was a good interview, it was a good story, and I think that was like my favorite Ralph interview I ever did. We did that together, and we interviewed Pat, so that was a top moment. Just Taylor coming on was a top moment. I really liked when I had both you and Wall on. Anytime I had Joe on, just because he would always complain about how I never informed him of any questions.
No question preparation.
I guess it's a good time though, but in the comments, if you ever had like a good NCW memory or like your favorite issue, I did, when I talked to Joe and I told him, NCW had maybe come to an end for me because I just had a lot on my plate. We were just talking about how great these streams are because it is a fantastic way for fans to reference what you've released. It's a good catalog for you too of like, oh, this is what's happened, or if a fan needs to reference what happened in a past story, they could watch a past stream and find out about it.
Well, yeah, I love it for the marketing aspect of like, because afterwards I think we still do we put them on YouTube? I don't know if we do, but
yeah, they still end up on YouTube. Yep.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's self-promoting, but it's good self-promotion where you're getting to talk with the creators and you're getting to know about stories that you might not necessarily know. Like, I don't know, I really love like that part of this show because it's like it's letting you know what comes out this Wednesday, but also letting you know not that it's like, oh, we just have this book out today. It's like, oh, well, here's this book, but also here's people that worked on it and they can tell you about what went into it and things like that. And I don't know. I think that like that added value always is something for me. Like at least if I'm watching things, I don't want to just be told, okay, this book is out. I'm like, all right, well, what do you think of that book, or what's it about, or what's going on, like, or if you have somebody come in and tell you about it. Like, I love that type of stuff. But,
well, as I let you go, any parting words that you would like to share for one more time on NCW?
I mean, yeah, sorry sad to see you not do it anymore. I wish you the best of luck and dreams of turtles. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not like I'm never gonna. It's not like your next show. It's not like next week. The next show is you're like we show up and there's just like a noose hanging behind your on your family, and you're just like, well, this is the last show, guys. And you're just like.
Maybe I'll bring out all my only regret is that I never got to interview Joe Tyler. That's my only regret on this show is I never got to interview.
You get him next week.
Maybe that'll be my last guest.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe
you don't know.
Oh my God, I forgot when we did the Man Goat and the Bunny Man interview.
Yeah, you do the.
And Chris was the Bunny Man, and I had to stand behind. And God. We must have done that interview. Ralph hosted that interview. We must have done that interview, I think, for like 2 hours. It took so many takes.
Was it? Did you guys shadow him out or did you blur him out? I think just to shadow. Right?
Well, I had like the light behind him. I was standing off to the corner, and then we blurred him. And I wish we had done more fun stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's never the end.
Never the end. NCW never. That's all I got.
Never complete words.
Okay, Dave. Thanks for joining for one last NCW with me. I'm sure that NCW will live on, and you will have NCWs in the future that you'll be on, but keep the memory alive.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I'll see you.
Bye.
See you.
So again, we only had one new release today. That was our Belle storyline that we had. It was $5.99 in our web store. So I was like, I wanted to almost call it The Sleep of Fear. I didn't think about the title, The Shape of Fear, which was about the dream sequence, featuring our brand new character, Sleeping Beauty, who we've already had in the past, but her second iteration. If you didn't read her intro story, her origin story per se, you'll want to go back and watch a previous NCW. I think Casey might have hosted the Sleeping Beauty one. Actually, I'm pretty sure she did. So that was just a few months ago. Go back, read that story, and then read the last Belle. There's a really good jumping on point in the story. So if you hadn't read either, you'll be able to dive right in. But an emotionally good story that you'll really enjoy. Some other stuff that's happening as we continue on. So again, if you missed my announcement that happened probably about 5 minutes ago, this is going to be my second to last NCW. Next Wednesday will be my last NCW. And then it will go on a hiatus for a little bit until they decide internally what they're going to do with the show, who the new host will be, etc. So I hope you guys tune in for my very last NCW next week. Also be the day before my 31st birthday. So you come out and support. I don't know who I'll have on as my last guest. Like, drop in the comments. Maybe this is the time to have Noah on, because we never had Noah on. But drop in the comments if there's someone in particular that you would really love to have. I know next week we're releasing Grim Fairy Tale 72, but I told Dave that this week would be his last week, and that I really wanted to come on. And then we're also releasing Robin Hood next week, but I did just have Joe on. I've also never had Jason on. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will just be like an hour-long goodbye NCW, and I'll just have a bunch of special guests on. That could be a lot of fun. But make sure that you tune in for the Goodbye NCW from me next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Speaking of other stuff that you want going on, tonight is Movie Club. So you're going to want to make sure, I think it's tonight, right? I'm not crazy. Movie Club happening in just a few hours. Yep, Top Gun, not to be confused with the better version known as Top Gun Maverick. But you will enjoy that movie. You will enjoy the conversation with everybody. So tune in for Movie Club tonight. Our virtual cosplay con is also coming up very, very soon, aka tomorrow. I was like, I think it's this week. So you'll want to tune into that, and you'll have like the best time ever with everybody. See some awesome cosplays, see some awesome guests, see some awesome collectible covers that you can collect. Other stuff going on really quickly. Coffee with Casey and Noah, I see, is moving to Tuesday next week, right? Which will be Tuesday, Coffee with Casey and Noah, and then NCW Wednesday, and then and then probably the following Tuesday will be the retailer live stream, because I know we do that at the start of every single month as well. Our in-person event, our next in-person event is Fan Expo Philly. That's happening not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend, June 2nd through the 4th. You can head to a Fan Expo Philly to see our awesome Zenescope staff there. You'll have a really good time meeting everybody that you love in person. I think that's it. Oh, the VIP Philly event. Make sure that you go on and you get, this graphic that Casey made, free signatures all day. You definitely want to meet all these people. I know you guys have been dying to meet Sun. It's been such on your mind, but make sure that you tune in, you buy tickets, you go hang out with the crew. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, I will join you next Wednesday for the final NCW that I will be hosting May 31st at 3 p.m. So I really hope that you can join us. And here for a second to last time, those will be our two releases. For a second to last time, here at Zenescope, you come for the covers, but you stay for the stories. I will see everybody one last time next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Goodbye, everyone.